One of the best ways to make money in crypto right now is by farming crypto airdrops. There's a very viral story lately about a 17-year-old kid making $1 million by farming just one airdrop. So today, I want to show you an airdrop that I'm farming right now called MARGINFI and exactly how to do it step by step in a very concise and efficient manner. So make sure you press that like button. Step number one, get yourself the right wallet. The one I personally use is the Phantom wallet. Just download it for Chrome or for your phone, but I'd recommend to watch the video all the way through before doing any of these so you know what to do and then can follow along. So get it on your laptop, get it on your computer by pressing the button on the top right that says download or right here. After you got it, you have to make a little account. It will ask you to store your passphrase somewhere. It might ask you to put up a password, etc. Make sure you go through all those steps. It's just making an account. Remember though that if you lose that information, you will also lose your money if push comes to shove, so make sure you store it carefully. Anyway, once you've set up your account, it should look something like this, and you really want to pay attention only to this little string right here. So this 7N, whatever, that is my receiving address to get Solana on. And so if I want to get Solana into this wallet that right now has $0, what I have to do is I have to copy this address, this 7N whatever, go to another exchange or go to a place or send it to my friend so I can get some Solana and get this number from 0 up higher. So now just go to your favorite crypto exchange. My personal favorite is Bybit. I've left the link down below. To make sure we buy ourselves some Solana, you can press this one-click buy or fiat deposit, or if you already have some other cryptos, just go and trade some dollars, some USDT or whatever for some Solana. And again, if you want to use Bybit, check out the link down below so you can get yourself some juicy bonuses. But to withdraw some Solana to your Phantom wallet, you have to put your entire wallet right there. So for me, that was a whole string of information. I just only typed this in, but you just copy and paste it right there. For chain type, you pick Solana. And again, you don't put only 3 letters in here. You copy the whole thing. And at the amount, you put exactly how much Solana you want to withdraw and then press confirm. Then once you send money in, your wallet should look something like this. In this one, there's only 0.1 Solana, about $10 worth, which is not that much to farm the airdrop with, but hey, let's continue. So now, check out the link down below for MARGINFI, because if you use the link down below, you get extra bonus points, and it's a waste not to use it. So make sure you check out the link down below. Nothing changes except for the fact that you get extra points by being referred. So literally, by not using the link, you're literally wasting money. Once you're on the platform, press this little button on the top right that says sign in with Phantom. I've just clicked it. It might give you a little pop-up of sorts. Just press confirm. And now things get interesting. There are only 2 things that will give you points, but there are 3, perhaps even 4 things you can do on the platform. I'll quickly explain what you can do and then go over into what gets you points. What you can do is lend and borrow. You can lend out money or borrow money. You can stake your Solana, so it becomes a liquid staking token, which is basically just staked Solana, giving you a yield, but still being tradable, because natively staked assets directly, you can't move them for a while, right? There's a claim period. If they're liquid, you can still move them around and the token value just changes. So you can do that on here, and these guys have a very high yield. You can see right now how crazy it is, 10% a year. You can swap on here using Jupiter, and if you did this before, you would have actually also gotten the Jupiter airdrop, but they're still doing more over time, so this is like 2 birds with 1 stone. And you can bridge, and this is basically if you want to take money from Ethereum, for example, to Solana, or the other way around. But if you go 1 point afterwards, you can see what gives you points. The only things that can give you points are lending or borrowing, or as I said just now, referring, which is a waste if you don't use the link down below then, because then you're gonna get nothing. Or maybe it's only with Etherfi that way, I don't know. The referral things are sometimes weird, but as you scroll through this list, nobody really cares about that too much. It's mostly about the first 2. So how do you get these points, deposit or borrow points? Well, over on the top left, you have a button that says lend. You go there. I'm gonna just quickly switch to a wallet that I'm already doing it for to give you guys a better overlook as to how it's going to look and what all the buttons are. So in this section, we're in the lend section. I can lend out my Jitto Sol, which is just staked Solana, or B Sol staked Solana, M Sol staked Solana, normal Solana, or dollars or BONK or whatever. I can lend that out, get a very, very small return, but obviously guys, this is already staked, so it's already giving me, let's say, a 7% return. This is just on top. And for every dollar I do it for, there's a little bit more to that story with regards to weight, but for every single dollar I deposit, I get 1 point every single day. So in this account here, I've got $30,000 deposited, giving me 1 point a day. So that's 30,000 points a day. For every dollar you borrow, which again, you just have to press this borrow section, you can borrow. This will cost you 1.2% a year. This will cost you 6.3% a year to borrow. This will give you 4 points a day. So $30,000 gives me 30,000 points a day. $10,000 here gets me 40,000 points a day. And what I just said about the weight is with regards to how much you can borrow relatively to how much you supplied. You can see my ratio here is 51 0.83% in terms of health. I can actually get this as low as what, like 90, I should say like to like 1% or whatever, because theoretically speaking, it's just gonna always be a stable base. I mean, I'm staking, I'm giving out, I'm lending out Solana in a staked form. But that price will not really ever deviate much from the amount that I've borrowed because it's just normal Solana. Theoretically speaking, this will only become more valuable when this gets just the same. Nothing really happens to it as this is staked. So the value of these will keep going up and the value of Solana itself will just stay the same in terms of amount of Solana. So I could go very, very low on the health factor, but obviously I also have staked Solana that I just have to get a yield on, right? And if I'm borrowing Solana for every single dollar that I'm also lending out, then my yield is basically canceled. There's a nice arbitrage if you're doing it with liquid staked Solana, the LST, because that percentage is like 9, sometimes 8, sometimes 10. And this only cost me 6.3. And you can see there's a little liquidation price here because if the Solana price were to double, it were to go from whatever, $100 right now to $200, then theoretically speaking, right, I'm supplying, if we just disregard that this is also Solana, I would be supplying $30,000, but I'd now be borrowing too much because then my health rate were to get worse. The only thing is this number will keep going up as well because the amount that I have supplied will also go up incrementally as this is also basically Solana. There are outliers though. There are some I should say other factors when it comes to staking, and there are other factors when it comes to lending and borrowing, which are not for this tutorial. I'd say figure out for yourself exactly what the risks are with this lending and borrowing, because if you don't understand, this might not be the thing for you. This is just a tutorial for how to do it if you were to want to do it. Ledger, for example, has a nice little article on it, but there's like thousands of articles on this out there. But because this is all done in a decentralized way, there are certain risk prevention manners in place, or I should say protocols in place, which I recommend you get acquainted with if you want to make this your main thing. But to be extremely on the safe side, for example, just a little tip from Dusty, stay away from this LST or stay away from anything that has leverage to it, because that way you can stake more than you actually have, sort of, but obviously there's risks involved. And just stick to 𝗬𝗁, for example, and you can get that either on 𝗬𝗁's website, same thing for Marinade, or you can just get it by swapping it over on the top left by just changing your SOL to whatever, like 𝗬𝗁, for example. This one, and then you can borrow it out, etc. And the risks for that are significantly lower. I mean, you could play even a more different game by optimizing all this. You can figure it out for yourself. You could borrow, for example, dollars, use those dollars to buy Solana or buy something else, stake that again, and potentially provide it as more of a deposit. There's so much you could do. And people often ask me, Dusty, how do you claim the airdrop then? That will become readily available, the information, as time progresses, because theoretically speaking, you're farming it not knowing if there's ever going to be something and whether or not it will happen. And the reason it's not fully known up front is because otherwise somebody like you would get nothing, because somebody like me would make 50,000, if not 200,000 accounts and do exactly what is needed. So they keep things vague to make sure that everybody has a chance because things are not certain. The moment things are certain, too much money goes around it most of the time. And some protocols don't care because they just want to attract more users. They just want to attract more volume. Others do. They want to make sure there is a system in place, but it's still a little bit vague as to when and if and what the points really mean. But the points are also a nice gamey way of just seeing how much people are involved with the protocol. Then again, you will see it everywhere on Twitter. You'll see it over on my channel the moment that MARGINFI does an airdrop. But I know that the VCs are heavily looking for MARGINFI to invest into. And again, you're not sure these points are more than tracking. It could literally be so. There's a very good chance that you will actually be rewarded for participating. And so I'm doing my best to get as many points as possible.